There we go.
There we go. Welcome to Jan and Jeff number. We think this is 17. I think it's 17. If I've been keeping track, getting old, so I don't know if I can count anymore. How are you doing, Jan?
Really good. In fact, we're having so much fun, we've lost count.
Exactly. Who counts, right? After a certain amount, right? Exactly. You know, when you've been married long enough or something. Anyway.
Absolutely. So you went on a little trip here.
I went on a trip. I went to Normandy, to the D-Day beaches for the 71st, I'll say it right, anniversary of the landings.
Wow.
And it was really something. I have to say, it was something.
Yeah, I've been to Normandy before, but I think it's probably pretty special to be there with all of the celebrations.
Yeah, the one I didn't see many official celebrations. There were a lot of reenactors.
Yeah.
And I saw military had tanks. They had what looked to be tanks from the invasion, and they probably were, or they were very old.
Right.
There were vehicles, and everyone I asked was, is that an original Jeep? Is that an original truck? They were all originals.
Yeah, yeah. We have a lot down here. We actually have some old guys, French guys down here, that on D-Day they go around and liberate all the little villages like,
they go
like
around.
when the Americans did. They just kind of do it for fun and they go to all the bars. But yeah, I know these. Yeah, not the same. But so tell us. I mean, I think that's really exciting. You got to go when it's all just really happening.
Yeah, it's happening, and I understand why it's called the longest day. As there is about, I think it's about 18 hours
of daylight.
Yeah, it's daylight, and I woke up at about 6 o'clock on June 6th, and I went to. And I was there. There were a lot of people. They were reenacting, and they had those boats where the soldiers came out on the beach. They had one in the water.
Right.
And the landing craft.
Yeah.
Something.
Wow. Do you know, I can say it now, but it was a bit top secret for a while. My husband, Stefan, as you know, works for a company that does a lot of underwater work. And there was some question between the French and the American government. They wanted to, there's a tank down there that they wanted to bring up for the 70th anniversary. And there were so many people that never even made it ashore that passed away that actually they never did it because there was a lot of certain people in the positions to make the decision that decided that there's so many bodies down, that were just lost, that they did not want to disrupt it. But there was this project to, because under the water there's all kinds of, it's, just a burial site of boats and material. Yeah. So.
In fact, it was very interesting because I went to Colville.
Oh, yeah.
Which is Omaha Beach and the cemetery. And it was crowded, but it wasn't as crowded as I thought it would be. And I went to I did the tour, and I did it in French because there was all French people were there. So there were French people. There were other people. So I did the French tour, and a woman didn't very long, and she took it to all the bodies. They had all names of people who were missing, and they could not find they couldn't find the bodies.
Yeah.
And she said it was actually one. They found the body in 2009.
Wow, you kind of cut out, so I didn't hear exactly. 2000 when?
2009.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this one little village, I don't know, was ending one of the buildings in the town, and they were digging up, and they found the skeleton, able to identify it by the dog tags. They could find the dog tags.
Oh, wow. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, as you know, living here, I would say every year or every other year, they have to evacuate a town because they're digging to put in new sewer system, or like you say, a parking lot or a foundation, and they come across an old American bomb and or missile, or whatever, and they have to evacuate the town. But it probably happens. I've been here for a little over 30 years, and I would say every couple years you hear about a town that's got to be evacuated. So you can imagine underground just all the things that kind of got buried.
Yeah, all the things that got buried. Yeah, it's really interesting. And the other thing that was really interesting, and I think a good tip to know, is that Omaha Beach has beautiful sunrises and sunsets.
Oh, okay.
Go to Omaha, and it's certainly if you go at low tide.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's just really the sunset. I have a photo of it with, incredible sun. And it's the beaches are really very long. It's very wide, I guess it is. The water is really thick. The high tide, the water must come in. I don't know how much far, but it really comes in far. Yeah. And it's very flat, and it's really beautiful. The sunsets, and then somebody told me the sunrise. I've seen it, but I didn't see the sun. It's very beautiful also.
Yeah. Well, why don't you put that on your website? Because I'd love to see it, or on the on the Facebook page.
I will, absolutely. Yeah. Actually, I put it on the Facebook page the other day, and that was It was a very tiring day. It was a very long day. I did take a nap.
Did you meet the band of brothers?
Yeah, the actors. There's a reunion. That's what that was. I had two events I went to. One was at the Overlord Museum, which is Omaha Beach, and the other was at the Utah Beach Museum. And I was able to get some photographs. And there are also veterans.
Oh, right. Yeah, I had really hoped to get my father over, but that's not going to happen. And the problem is you'd almost need assistance. You'd almost have to be part of their package, because the driving is so hard on those little roads in between, isn't it? Aren't they? There's just stop and go traffic.
Well, you know what? I went at a good time. Maybe this is the time to go. I would probably say July and August is going to be a zoo, because you're going to have so many people just because of the school's out. Right. But I was really surprised. I had traffic one time leaving the American Cemetery. That was it.
Okay.
The road that goes along the Burgundy Coast, which it kind of accesses the beaches, is really a good road. You can go pretty fast. Your roads are kind of windy and stuff, and that is true.
Yeah.
That's an issue.
It's two-way roads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they've only just got two-way roads. There's not a passing lane or a 4-lane highway or anything. They're just little two-way roads. So I know it can get pretty jammed up.
That goes between Sherburne and Bahia is actually a fairly good road. But to go off, you do have to. That you have to do. The thing, what was really interesting is that in St. Mary Glees, where the guy that's the one where they had the parachute come in, and the one guy, John Steele, got hooked on the his parachute got hooked on the church, and he hung there for a while, for a couple hours. Yeah. And since that time, there's always been a kind of a reenactment of that. They have this dummy hanging down, dressed as a soldier, hanging there, and they had all day long. They had this party, and they had bands from America come.
Oh.
And it was really, really good, and it finished. June 6th, so my June 6th, it started off at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it finished 11:30 at night. St. Mary Église, they had a fireworks show.
Oh, wow. Okay. I bet that's really impressive and touching to be there during that time.
Yeah, it is. And I think, like I was saying, is that all the reenactors, and what's funny is they're all French. They're all dressed as Americans.
Yeah.
And they had the music, and there was this band. It was like this, I guess you can call it a band. It was this little group, these women dressed in 50s clothes, singing these 50 songs in English.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Really, yeah, it's like that whole celebration of American culture.
Right.
And it was just amazing. And like I said, the vehicles, some of the vehicles, they look pretty good shape. How they have been able for 70 years to be in this good a shape is beyond me. But they run.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, there's a cemetery here of old World War II ambulances.
Ah, okay.
I need to, it's right off the freeway on the way to Grenoble, and every time we go up that way, I get a glimpse of it, and I keep telling Stefan, I need to stop there and look, because you can just see all these rows, and you know, you can tell because they've got the, you know, the Red Cross on them, and they're all that old green. But so one of these days, I'd like to go, and you know, it just looks like a cemetery of old ambulances. There's just rows and rows and rows of them. So,
yeah, that sounds like cool, and it's still, and they has, you know, there was some of the weapons too, and the tanks. I could not believe they actually had the tanks, and that was just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. There's quite a few. Did you go to any of the museums? I mean, I was up there a couple years ago, actually. Probably about 10 years.
Yeah, I went to two museums. I went to the Utah one at Utah Beach and the other at Overlord. And Utah Beach, it offers you the view of the beach.
Right. Right.
I went to 2 events for the Band of Brothers reunion, and one was at Overlord, and that was really crowded. It's a smaller, it's a museum that's actually smaller. The Utah Beach Museum is right on the beach, which is a little bit more. I think it's a little bit more.
Yeah, that's where last year they had Françoise Hollande did the ceremony, the 70th anniversary at that beach, and it was really impressive. I watched it on TV. I was in the States at the time, but it was really impressive, the reenactment, you know, they did. It's a big beat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something to do, and definitely something. I'm glad I went. I mean, I don't think you would do it. I don't know how you could do it every year.
Yeah.
But it's something, because it was tiring, but it was really worth it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you know, I'm not too far from the Chapelle-en-Vercors and Vassieuse, which is, it's probably about an hour and a half away, which is where they had the largest group of resistance.
Okay.
And there's caves up there that you can actually go in, and it'll have, you know, the Germans, somebody would, you know, denounce them. There was actually one cave where I think there was, I don't know, there was a whole group of doctors and nurses that had a whole lot of, you know, patients. And somebody denounced them. This was right towards the end of the war, and the Germans just came and just shot them all down. So, but there is a private museum. That's kind of why I brought it up. There's a private museum in Vassieuse, which is really complete. And it's quite interesting because up there in on the plateau in Vassieuse, they were waiting for the Americans, and all these planners started coming in and landing, and the people working out in the fields thought it was the Americans, but it was the Germans, and they just took all of the field hands and hung them from the trees and
oh my God,
shot them down. I mean, it was just really a massacre up there towards the end of the war. Yeah, and because there was just a, you know, large group of resistance and people. So, you know, and the Germans at the end were just kind of desperate. So, but that, you know, so once you've seen Normandy, there's a lot of other things to see, and this is one of the areas right here in Vassieuse and Chapelle-en-Vercors. Yeah, quite interesting. Well, that sounds like you had a great trip. I'm really excited you got to see all that, and tell us about it.
All right. Well, it sounds good. And we'll we'll talk again soon.
Yep. I'm busy making tarts.
Very good. Make your tart. Well, next time we'll do we can do either a taste test or.
Yeah, I'm still looking for that wine. And
Okay. All right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. The 2 vodka friends. Exactly. All right, Jan. Bye bye.
Take care, Jeff. Ciao, ciao. Bye.
Ciao.